Welcome back, another episode. I feel like we always really struggle with our
We have
intros.
literally just spent about 5 minutes trying to figure out what to say, but there we go, we did it.
There we go. We're into the intro. We've opened it up.
Thank God.
We got there.
I'm actually really excited for today's episode. I think it's very relevant.
I think it's a good topic. So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about ADHD and toxic relationships and dopamine seeking and why people with ADHD almost seek out toxic relationships more than neurotypical people.
I guess we could start off with why it is that we think people with ADHD do seek toxic relationships, because we always kind of start with the science of this.
Yes, we do.
And you're always probably the best person to explain that. So
Yes.
should we maybe start there?
Yeah, we can start with the science. There is a good stat as well that I think we should mention as well. So when I was looking into this before we started recording today's episode, I was looking into some of the stats, and there's a really interesting stat that people with ADHD are 4 to 5 times more likely to be in abusive relationships.
No way.
Which is crazy to
Yeah.
me. Like, that's such an insane amount more likely to be in. And so I guess the science behind it, which is really interesting, links to ADHD. So ADHD, obviously, we've spoken about it lots and lots, it causes low dopamine. And all we're trying to do constantly is seek dopamine. We're trying to get things that bring our dopamine up, that's thrill-seeking, adrenaline, things like that. And so toxic relationships is a classic example of something that is going to keep your adrenaline going. Like, one day it'll be up, one day it'll be down, one day all of this, and it's like that constant, like, almost your nervous system is at a high, is keeping your dopamine up because it's stimulating you. Obviously it's not good for you, but you're going to keep doing it because that dopamine is so addictive and your brain is constantly seeking for it. So that is probably one of the main reasons why people with ADHD are more likely to be in these toxic relationships, because they need that fulfillment of the dopamine.
Yeah, and I think looking back at my dating history, I've often dated what probably are avoidant guys that just, like, 1 minute they'll be texting me, they'll want to see me, and then the next minute I don't hear from them, and then I'm waiting for that text, I'm waiting to see them, then I have that spike of dopamine to see them, and it's like, oh my God, everything's amazing again, and then it's gone, and then you're back. It's like literally like chasing a drug, isn't it?
It is, and because it's like, it's reinforcement, it's like that constant intermittent reinforcement. You're constantly going after it, you're constantly chasing something, and when you're with someone who's constantly, like, on and off, pushing and pulling, you know, you're chasing it, then you're getting the reward from it, and then you're getting pushed away, and it's like constantly like, okay, I want this reinforcement, so I'm going to keep on chasing it and chasing it and chasing it. And then you just end up in a cycle of being in these horrible relationships that don't fulfill your needs. I mean, they push your dopamine up, but they don't make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you've actually broke the cycle. Like, you've been with Matt for like
6 years.
6 years. Oh my God.
6 years this year.
6 years, and Matt is probably everything that we are not describing in a guy. And it, like, for the longest time you were probably in the cycle of dating these kind of guys, but you broke the cycle. How was that? Finally being with someone who actually treats you right. And
It's, I mean, right now, obviously, it's amazing. But don't get me wrong, like, I have, in my past relationships, like, my partner before I was with Matt was very toxic, very abusive. Like, it was very up and down all the time. And I felt like I was constantly living on a knife edge when I was with them. And it was one of those things of, I think, growing up, you've been told that love is supposed to be this passionate thing. Like, it is fiery, it's passionate, it's high highs and low lows, and sometimes it's so easy to confuse that feeling of butterflies with actual anxiousness. So for such a long time I thought that being in a relationship should be like, oh, we have these massive arguments and fighting each other, and it's so aggressive, and then it ends and we make up and everything's okay, and then next week it's the same thing over and over again. It was like a roller coaster. And then when I first started dating Matt, it was so easy, but I think there was, at the start, a part of my brain was like, okay, this is boring.
Yeah.
You know, like there was no ups and downs, and I think at the start I was constantly trying to create arguments because I was trying to find that toxicity. I was trying to like bring it out of them. But then after a while, I realised, you know, love isn't supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to feel up and down all the time. Love is supposed to be boring sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be stable and it's supposed to be safe. And it took me a while to get to that point of realising I'm enjoying being safe and stable, and, you know, I still have butterflies, and it's not mixed in with this whole anxious feeling. But it is hard to break the cycle, and it is hard to find someone who is that right person, especially when you're the type of person who is seeking that type of relationship.
Yeah, and I also think rejection sensitivity dysphoria comes into it as well, because you want to be liked and you don't want to be rejected. So you're doing everything possible to try and keep this person because you don't want them to leave. Because if they leave, then it shows that you're a bad person, or you know, you've been rejected for whatever reason. But I think it is really hard because to know if something's right, because ultimately if you meet someone and you both really get on and it's very passionate, that could be, you know, potentially a good thing. It doesn't always have to be toxic, but it's really hard to find that balance between, is this far too intense? Am I being love bombed, which we'll get into? Or is this healthy love? And I think there's so much on the internet now about love bombing and limerence and all this kind of stuff that when you do meet someone, you never really know.
Yeah, you don't
whether
know.
It's that, and then you overthink the whole process.
Am I actually enjoying being with this person?
Yeah.
And the reason that things feel so good and I'm so excited about it is because it's actually good.
Yeah.
Or is it you're with this person and it's so intense and you're almost hyper focused on this person, and that emotional intensity is leading to a dopamine spike, and you're just putting your full self into it. So it's hard sometimes to know the difference between, okay, is this actually something, like, is it normal? Is it, should I be excited?
Yeah.
Or
it's
how do you
especially
separate
someone
it?
with ADHD, I think naturally we do overthink and become high fixated on things. So, like, I mean, I've been doing it at the moment, dating someone, and it's like I can't stop thinking, like, is this actually normal? Is it real, or is it my ADHD?
Yeah.
And it's hard.
It is hard. And also people with ADHD have a higher link to reward sensitivity. So imagine it's like, it's conditioning, right? It's like you do something good, you get a reward. And it's the same thing in a relationship, is like when you're really into it and it's like you put more of yourself into it, you almost feel like you get more out of it and you get a reward.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly trying to chase that, especially when you've got rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Yeah.
And someone is giving you all that affection that you want.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, wow, like
Finally,
this is finally what I've been looking
Yeah.
for. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because there are so many people out there that can give you all of those things and it's not toxic. But then there are red flags. There are people who are doing that, and it is in getting into that cycle of you're chasing it, and then suddenly they withdraw, and then you get to that point and you're like, oh shit, I've done it again.
Yeah.
And you end up feeling like you're not worth, like there's no self-worth there, because it's other people's behavior, yet it still projects onto us. We're still sat there thinking, it's something that I've done.
Yeah, and I just think it makes it harder to date, because you're always looking out for these signs and red flags that you can't trust someone when it's happened a lot of times. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been love bombed, but if you have, because I'll tell my story, but I don't know if you've been love bombed, and then we can see if our stories are
a little
similar.
comparison.
Yeah. So do you want to go first?
No, you go first with your love bombing story.
Okay, so I started dating a guy when I got back to London from Australia, and I guess I've been single for a while. And I thought, I'll download Hinge, started dating someone. It was actually the first guy that I started speaking to, and I remember we matched, and he instantly started messaging me, and he was messaging me loads, like. It was just, but because of my ADHD and my rejection sensitivity dysphoria, him texting me was reassuring me, and I actually really like someone that texts me a lot. So I was like, oh my God, he's actually texted me, and he said to me, oh, I know this is really short notice, but should we go on a date tomorrow? And I thought, yeah, why not? Like, you know, very forward, may as well. I don't really want to just keep texting him, may as well meet him. Went on this date, and we were like 2 hours into the date, and he starts telling me about his family, and I could tell that he was mirroring a lot. Looking back, he was mirroring a lot of the things that I was saying, which is obviously to try and keep me feeling safe and like, oh my God, we're so similar. Yeah. And he started to build this connection and a sort of emotional safety. And we left the restaurant, and we were waiting for the tube, and he said to me, I need to tell you this. I went to the toilet when we were sat there, and I looked in the mirror, and I thought, she's the one. And you know, when you have been like hurt so many times and someone says that to you, and you're in a very vulnerable position. I just moved back to London, probably been in London for like a month, and I was like, oh my God, someone like really likes me, like thinks I'm the one. This is the best. And there was not I'll be honest, like I think I believed it in that moment.
But you do believe
it.
it.
And I feel stupid for believing it, but anyway, then it just was very, very intense. We saw each other quite a lot. He texted me a lot. He rang me every day. He was talking about future plans. He put his mum on FaceTime on like the second day. So I'm just like starting to fall for this, what was ultimately a trap. And it was, I think I'd seen him like 5 or 6 times at this point. And it was the 6th time that I was seeing him, and something felt different. Something felt different on the date. His texting style had slightly changed. What I now know is what they call the devalue phase, where he was starting that process. And then we went on this date. Things were really weird, and I said the smallest thing, completely triggered him. Had this huge meltdown about it, and then that was it. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. After the most intense, like previous, like it probably lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This is the thing, looking back, it was literally 3 weeks of intensity, but yeah, just gone. And then I was so confused. I think you actually were you in the office at that time?
Yeah, I remember having this conversation about it.
I was like so confused. I was just like, what has just happened?
Yeah.
This whole whirlwind romance, and it's just gone.
But they want you to chase them, though. That's the thing. It's like he has probably done that, and he wants you to chase him because it's like an ego boost for him. He wants you to be like groveling and begging and be like, please, like, what have I done? Like, can we get this back?
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take you back, and it'd be like a cycle of doing it. So almost you not doing that and breaking that cycle is probably the best thing that you could have done, because he would have gone like, okay, yeah, if you groveled, and it's like then you would have been in this relationship with this person constantly going through that hot and cold, that push and pull. And that's why it's so addicting. It's almost like toxic relationships are like a slot machine. You know, like you can compare it to gambling and things like that, because you know, when you win, you're on a buyer's high, and then when you lose, you're like, okay, maybe next time it will be better. Yeah. And then it doesn't get better, but you're constantly chasing for when it was good and like comparing it to that. I think my own experience with love bombing, I would say probably my ex-partner who I was with, I wasn't actually interested in him at the start, and I was in...
It's always the case.
It's always the case. I was not interested in him.
What is it with that?
I know. I was like, I'm not attracted to him, anything. And I had been dating people, and I was always kind of felt like I wasn't wanted, and there was a person that I was speaking to who I was like so completely obsessed with, and they weren't that interested in me. And then this guy from school started speaking to me, and I was in such a vulnerable place. I had such low self-esteem and self-worth as it was. and this person came in and was like telling me how amazing I was, how funny I was, you know, you're beautiful, blah, 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 all of this.
Yeah.
And so he was telling me all the things that I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm not actually interested in him, but he loves me so much that maybe I should just go with it, because I loved the feeling of being loved and feeling like I was wanted.
Yeah.
And although we were together for quite a long time, that changed so much when we were together. It was almost at the start, it was like so obsessed with me and telling me that I was amazing, and then like towards the end of the relationship it just completely flipped. And it was like the manipulation of turning everything back on me and making me feel like I was the toxic manipulative person, and like playing mind games. And I'd be sat at home and I'd be thinking, oh my God, I am the toxic person. I am the one causing all the problems. Bear in mind, he's out cheating on me like every week and doing all of this sort of stuff. But I'm still sat there going, oh, it's my fault. I'm absolutely psycho. Like, oh, why am I such a psycho for reacting this way because he's like kissed a girl on a night out? And it's like,
what?
Why would I be sat at home thinking I'm a psychopath because I'm this crazy bitch because I've got pissed off that my boyfriend's kissed another girl? Like, whoa, what a overreaction.
Yeah, it's so strange, isn't it? They are so manipulative when they do it. And I wonder if, I've always thought, do love bombers actually know that they're doing it? Do you think they're aware of it?
I don't know. I think they're probably not aware they're doing it. They probably they do it because it's like an ego boost for them, and it's probably at the start they probably do feel these intense feelings.
Yeah.
I do think it's like linked to, like, I've noticed a lot of people who are love bombers are very narcissistic, and it's very much like it feels like your little chess pawns in their game of life, and it's like they know exactly what to say to you, how to press your buttons, how to get you interested, and then as soon as they've got you in, it's like, okay, well, I've done the game. It's the game of it, isn't it? It's the chase. But I think in all relationships, the chase is probably the most exciting part of a relationship. But it's the ego boost. It's like getting a person in, like love bombing them, getting the attention back, and then after a while being like, no, not interested. Let's go on to the next person. And it's just because it fulfills their need of feeling like they're better than everyone. It's almost like this alpha male behavior, you know, feeling like you're the big dog and you can get anyone that you want. And you always notice these people who are love bombers always come across as the most charming, you know, like
they're always really good looking as well.
Always good looking, charming, everyone loves them, things like that, and like no one can see through them. Yeah. And then it's like, it's this mask.
It's a mask. It always is. And I feel like, you know, even the guy that was love bombing me, I noticed that he was trying to take me out on these really nice dates and, you know, buying me things, but I knew he couldn't actually afford that. And there's only so long that they can kind of keep that. And I think that's as well when they're like, well, I can't keep this going. And they're going to find out who I truly am, so I need to leave before they find out as well.
It's linked to insecurity, I would say, though. Massively linked to insecurity.
I wonder if people with ADHD are more likely to love bomb, though. I don't know if I've love bombed before and not known. I don't know. Like,
it's hard.
Because it is, you must get so much dopamine from, I mean, I don't think I'd have it in me to love bomb someone, because the process of love bombing and then absolutely just disregarding someone, which is essentially what they do. But I wonder if there is a link between ADHD and love bombing, and whether people with ADHD don't actually know they're doing it, but they do enjoy the chase so much.
Well, the stat that I said earlier, which was 4 to 5 times likely to be involved in an abusive relationship, that's on both sides.
Right, so, okay. So more likely to be abusive.
You can either be abusive or be abused, which I can see both sides of it, right? Yeah. I can understand being ADHD and wanting that dopamine and having that chase of the toxicity, and then having a hyperfocus on someone, and then, you know, the hyperfocus is gone and you're like on to the next thing and disregarding them. But I don't know, maybe, obviously from my perspective, and I don't know this if this is scientific or anything like that, but me personally, from what I've seen, is I feel like it'd probably be more likely that ADHD women are more likely to be
abused
rather than be the abuser. And I'm not saying that women can't be abusers, because I know that they can, hands down. But just out of, I think, because women are more likely to be sensitive to rejection and have emotional dysregulation and things like that. I think personally, I don't think I could be the type of person to love bomb, because I get so emotionally invested in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, even when I have been dating someone and I have no interest in them whatsoever, I'm so hyper aware of their emotions and how I'm making them feel. So there's probably been situations where I've stayed in relationships for a lot longer than I should have done, because I was so worried about hurting someone else's feelings and being like, I'm not interested in them, but you know, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, and I don't want to just like cut it off and things like that. That's probably put me in worse situations
massively. And I think it does come down to RSD and also when you've spent your whole life feeling like you're too much, feeling like you're not good enough and unlovable, and then someone comes along and gives you all of those things for, even if it is a short period of time, you stay. Even if it's really bad, you stay for those little moments of happiness, even, you know, with all the bad stuff, because you just want to feel loved and liked, because your whole life you felt different. You
felt like you didn't belong, and when someone gives you those feelings that you've been seeking for so long, you want to stay because it feels comfortable. And it's things like RSD that I can't remember the exact stat, but I read it talking about how people who have ADHD hear so many microaggressions as they're a child. And that's what causes you to constantly chase it. Because I remember, you know, being at school, being told, oh, you're too much, or you're too over the top, you're too emotional, don't do this, you're not applying yourself enough. And it's like you absorb all those things that people are saying to you. And then as you get older, I just remember feeling like, how could anyone love me, and hating myself so much, and just thinking, you know, I'm never going to be in a position that I'm going to be in a healthy relationship. And so when someone does come in and gives you all those things that you want, you're like, okay, yeah, this is really good. But then on the other hand, when they start treating you like shit and they start being horrible to you, I remember sitting there and being like, okay, well, maybe I do deserve this. You know, maybe they're right. Maybe I am a bad person. Maybe I am never going to be good enough. And so I would stay in that, because it's a weird explanation, but almost it was comforting to be in that depression. It was like all that I had known. It was so comforting to be like, okay, well, I know I hate myself. This other person is like telling me why I'm such a bad person, and it's like, okay, well, maybe this is what I deserve. I should stay here because I'm not going to find anyone else who's going to treat me well. And it's like, when they treat me well, it was really good, and then when they treat me badly, it's like, okay, I deserve to be treated badly. And so it's like the constant cycle of, and you can't get yourself out of it, because you think, okay, I deserve this.
You can't. And then when healthy love comes along, which is actually, I think, even harder, because when you finally date someone who is stable, secure, and who actually just likes you, you then question everything, because of the past patterns that you've had. It's like, well, should it really feel like this? Is this normal? Maybe there should be more toxicity, or maybe they're just going to leave me, or, you know, maybe they're actually just love bombing me because it's all you've known. And then actually, I find for me personally, like, dating after all of that has been, like, normal people has been harder, and I've probably pushed guys away who have been actually really good for me, because I've assumed that it can't possibly be right. Like, this can't be it, because I'm so used to all of those past patterns. And I don't really know how you deal with that. I mean, probably go to therapy would help, but maybe therapy. But it's very difficult, because you assume when the right person does come along, who is actually healthy, that it'd feel really easy, but it almost feels harder.
It does, yeah, because I remember when I first started dating Matt, it was so difficult, because I had just come out of a really toxic, abusive relationship, and it was so hard to trust. It was so hard to trust him, and not being able to trust him made me feel like I needed to start an argument. I needed there to be this, like, like push and pull, and it'd be like go out for after work drinks, and like he'd come home at like midnight. I'd be messaging him being like, where the fuck are you? Like, how dare you? I'm locking the door. You can't come in. Because, like, my brain was just so used to being with someone who was so bad to me. And I think I was just trying to search for, like,
the dopamine.
The dopamine.
An argument, yeah.
An argument.
And then Matt's just like, Megan, just open the door, please.
Yeah. Like, can you let me in?
Yeah, I mean... I know you've spoke about you and Matt, but it's like even you trying to start the arguments with him, there's not probably a better person to deal with that because he's just so level-headed. Like, you just be so calm in that moment.
He doesn't give it back,
No.
which I think is probably the best thing, because I think if I had someone who was giving it back, like, I've got to give props to him because he has put up with so much shit from me, like in the past 6 years, and I will definitely say in like the last like 3 years, like I'm calm now.
Why do you think you're calmer?
I think I learnt to trust him. I think it was genuinely just time with him. It was like at the start, obviously I did trust him. I knew that he wasn't going to do anything silly. I knew he wasn't going to cheat on me. I knew he would never hurt me or anything like that. But I was so guarded because of what I had been through with my last partner, and it was just like, it was so hard to trust. And it was almost, actions speak louder than words, and being with him for so long and, seeing him go out and all of this sort of stuff and just be the perfect person, and also the way that he would react to when I would like scream at him, it settled me. And so I'm like, now I'm okay, I know he wouldn't go out and cheat on me because he's just not that type of person. And, I can't imagine a world in that would happen. So just, it's the trust, it's the time, it's the letting him prove himself. I probably took a bit too long for him to prove himself and to actually trust him. But yeah, you get to the point and it's just like, I remember even at the start, like being so over the top and being like, I'm going to go through his phone. And sitting there and going through his phone and literally like...
And there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. It's like, oh my God, going on his Instagram. What
Please,
is he following?
let me find something.
And it's literally like, okay, his Instagram is just like football and like...
Isn't that like one of the worst traits as well? I used to be so bad for that. I'd be dating a guy or, in a relationship with a guy, and I'd be going on their Instagram followers and I'd remember the exact number of followers that they had. But sometimes there must be a glitch or something because they're not actually following. And I'd remember... every single girl that he was currently following, then there'd be a new girl and I'd be like, right,
who is
to
this?
find out who she
is
is.
this?
Go on her page, she's on private, oh my God. Then I'm like Facebook, and I'm just doing
trying
everything possible
to
trying to
find
find, going through her pictures and being like, has he ever liked one of their pictures? And it's so toxic, isn't it?
It is so toxic. I remember the day. Do you remember Instagram used to have followers by chronological order? By who they had followed? And they used to have that. And that was like the best thing ever, because you can be like, oh, they've recently just followed this new person. Who is that?
Yeah.
Who's this bitch?
Why did they change that?
Why did they change that? But to be fair, it's probably for the best.
It's probably a good thing.
And I remember just like going on his phone and looking at his text messages and being like, what's this? And it's literally just
nothing
there's
there.
fucking nothing. And
There's
I was
nothing.
being like, okay, like I just get anything from it, and then haven't been through his phone since. So
that is positive. But I do think social media is probably a big problem in the early stages of dating. I know from a lot of my friends, it's because it's like you could give someone an Instagram like, and it not actually really mean anything.
Yeah.
But then I think, like, from a guy's perspective, I think they sometimes just go through and they'll just like something. They'll see something and like it without thinking about how that might make the other person feel. Like, I think if you're liking a picture of a random girl, not if it's like your girlfriend's friend, or like, someone that you work with or someone that you're friends with, but if it's like a girl that you kind of know, you've met her before, and she posts a picture of her on her own, I think it kind of signals I like what I'm seeing. Yeah.
It's like a random person like posting a bikini picture.
Yeah.
And you're liking it. And it's a bit like...
I see guys doing that so much when they've got girlfriends.
It's so strange.
That is so disrespectful.
Do you know what I think is weird as well? Is guys who've got girlfriends who follow female fitness pages. I don't know. Do you know when it's like videos of girls in tight leggings and it's like videos of them doing squats like filmed from below.
Yeah.
And like I understand if you're a guy and you're really into fitness and following other men who are into fitness, but realistically, as a guy who's got a girlfriend, why are you following a girl who's like just squatting in front of the camera? Like you're not doing it because you're like, oh yeah, I want to get good routine for, you know, bum day, you know.
There's just no need.
There's just no need. I think it's just it is a bit weird.
I think the lines have blurred quite a bit, haven't they? And I think social media has made that possible because it can seem so harmless to follow a girl, to like a girl's picture. But in actual fact, like I don't think I'd be very happy if I was dating someone and they were doing that.
But I think social media destroys relationships genuinely.
Absolutely.
I think if you think back to the previous generation when they didn't have social media and they didn't have all these dating apps like Hinge and Tinder, the problem is people always think the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it probably wouldn't be as easy to find someone. But nowadays, a new person is literally
a swipe
away. And that's the problem, is as soon as something as cracks start to show, people are like, okay, grass is greener. And I remember seeing this thing about the 95%, and I always say it all the time. And it's like, you will find someone who fulfills 95% of your needs, and then people will search for someone else who gives them that 5%, and then they'll leave the person who gives 95% and end up with the 5%, and then end up feeling like, okay, well, I don't have this 95%. Because
so I'll go again.
Yeah. And realistically, you're never ever going to find someone who fulfills 100% of your needs. And that's why we have friends. That's why we have family and things like that.
Yeah.
One person should not be your universe. You should not rely on them for everything. Right? Your person should be a world inside your universe, you know, because one person cannot fulfill all of your needs. And that's when people start thinking that the grass is greener.
Yeah. I know, and it's hard because, especially in London, I feel like there's just so many options. There's so many people to date, and you know, you could be dating a really pretty, attractive, funny, smart person, and you're still thinking, but I did find this pretty, attractive, funny, smart person on Hinge, so I could probably find an even prettier, funnier, smarter, more attractive person on Hinge. But I mean, I haven't used dating apps since then, in September, and I've met people naturally, and I think that it's definitely not as easy as it used to be.
No.
But I do think it is still possible to meet people organically.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not slating dating apps, because my dad met his current partner on Tinder, and they've been together for like nearly 10 years, and they've got 3 kids. So, you know, there is definitely so many people I know about. There's so many people, but I think personally, organically is usually best, because I think all the time, I definitely go for people who have personality, and I think it's more about their personality that matches that I find attractive. But when you're on these dating apps, it's like you're literally just looking at a few photos of a person, and maybe in person I would give someone who I don't find that attractive a chance because they're funny, because they've got the personality. But then when you're on the dating apps, you're like, oh, look at those, they're not attractive.
Not attractive.
Like you don't get to see their personality through it, and it's so shallow. And also, like, someone just might not be that photogenic, and I'm sat there judging people like, oh, why are you posing like that? Like, why are you taking a selfie in your mirror and things like that?
Exactly.
It's like,
that's so true, actually. But maybe they just don't really feel comfortable asking for someone to take a picture of them. Do you know what I mean? And also the prompts are so stupid as well. Like how, like these 3 prompts that really can't show your personality that much. Like I guess they kind of can, but I think a lot of guys really overthink the prompts as well and don't really know what to say. And I don't think it really, especially if you're not someone who uses your phone as well. I think guys that don't really use the phone and aren't really someone who like posts on social media probably aren't going to be the guys that show up well on Hinge.
Yeah.
But they're probably the guys that I'd want to date, you know?
Some of the prompts as well that people do are so fucking generic. They're so shit. It's like, we'll get along if you like pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
or it's like, what's your ideal Sunday? Morning walk, coffee, you know.
I think one of the one that's Sunday, either severely hungover or wholesome. Yeah, it's always that one. Or the walk in a coffee, or
What was your Hinge prompts? What did you have on yours?
I can't even remember. I just remember the one that was the unusual skills and making a clover leaf with my tongue, and then I think You know, do you know what that is?
Yeah, I think I've. To be fair, I remember there was a girl in school who used to be able to tie a knot with a cherry stem with her tongue.
Really?
And
I've
that
never
was
tried
that was like her thing that she always used to do, and everyone would be like, "Oh my god."
Tie a knot with a cherry?
Yeah, it'd be like you take a cherry and the stem, and she could put the stem inside her mouth and like tie a knot with it.
No way.
And that was like always her special skill.
And I did do 2 truths and a lie, and one of my lies was that I was a jockey. But obviously, people that can't see me stand would not know that I'm actually 5 foot.
She's very short. She's the only person in the world that makes me look tall. Because I'm 5'3", and everyone always thinks I'm short, and then I stand next to you.
I always think you're tall, to be honest. But yeah, I had that, and so many people believed it. Oh my god, you're actually a jockey. They'd see my height and they'd be like, oh, maybe she actually is. But I can't really remember the other ones. What were yours?
I can't remember. I remember one of them was. It was something like, something that I like that other people don't, and it was just sparkling water. And that actually got quite a lot of interest in it, because I get so many being like, oh, how do you like sparkling water?
I love sparkling water. Oh my god.
I need texture in my water. I get bored of my water.
Do you like mushrooms?
No, I hate mushrooms.
That would often be one.
I hate mushrooms with a deep,
a lot
deep
of people would
passion.
say that. I wonder. Yeah, I really like mushrooms.
I think it's a texture thing. I like the taste of mushrooms, but I don't like the texture of it. There's a lot of things. I think most of the food I don't like is because of texture, not because of taste.
You're missing out.
I'm missing out. I know Matt's always like, you need to eat mushrooms, because he loves mushrooms.
Grow up and eat mushrooms.
And he'll like chop them really tiny and put them in food for me. And I'm like, ugh, mushrooms, this is slimy.
They are a bit slimy, to be fair, but they are good.
They are. Anyway, we've gone off topic. Onto mushrooms. Back onto the topic. So, what do you think some of the red flags that ADHD brains ignore are?
Yeah, so I think trauma bonding, and looking back when I was dating the guy that I spoke about, the love bombing, very, very early on, probably on the first date, he was asking me about my childhood, about my mental health, and you could tell that he was asking like real leading questions to get to like the juicy bits, almost to try and make me feel really comfortable talking about those things. And then he would reflect a lot of it back. So then, I went through this, and like in that moment, I think I felt just very seen, and we all want to feel seen. And I think definitely ADHD people, probably it's the RSD as well. It's like, I felt, like he really got me. And I think, looking back, you shouldn't really be talking about your deepest trauma on the first or second date. I think it's definitely good to talk about those things, and it's good to share it, whilst you're dating someone and you're getting to know each other. I think it's a really important part of building intimacy. And I'm a very deep, introspective person, so I think that I am someone that naturally has those conversations quite early on. But there's a difference between, sharing a little bit about things that you've been through, and then just like trauma dumping everything. And then also them mirroring a lot of it back. So then you think that you've got this really, amazing connection, and you've been through so much, and you're so similar, and they really get you. And I guess I think, in terms of advice, if you are dating someone and very early on you're having these conversations, just be aware of why do you think that person is doing that? It could just be because they're a deep thinker and they want to connect with you on that kind of level. But I think you've got to be careful about whether or not you are trauma bonding with someone, and that they could be doing that without realizing as well. Like, it doesn't always have to be a manipulative tactic, but you have to figure out, like, do I really like this person, or do I like this person because we're bonding through trauma, essentially.
Intense very, very quickly, and your trauma bonding, and they're love bombing you, and all of this sort of stuff, and it feels very, very like heavy at the start. Maybe just have a step back.
Absolutely.
About, are we being toxic, or are we actually just interested in each other, and this is a normal pace for things to go?
Yeah.
I think as well, obviously, as someone with ADHD, right, toxic relationships is one part of the puzzle when it comes to dopamine seeking, but there are so many other behaviors, and I'm sure we'll do a full episode on this as well because there are so many things that we can
So
talk
many.
about.
I mean, the list we've got here, we could literally do an
Yeah,
episode for every single
every
one of
single
these.
one. But I think it's good to be able to touch on some of the other dopamine seeking behaviors that a lot of us do.
Yeah.
That also feed into toxic relationships as well because
Yeah.
it's just constantly doing things
Mm.
to seek some sort of dopamine and get some adrenaline out of life. So, what
What?
would you say is like your biggest dopamine seeking
Oh,
behavior that you
God.
do?
Spending. And it's really fun, and I really want to do a whole topic, a whole episode about this with you because I know that your spending and my spending are actually very different, but we both have ADHD, and I think some people with ADHD can actually use like have almost get addicted to saving and
Yeah.
get dopamine hits from saving. But for me, I'm really getting better, but I think over the years I've just been very, very impulsive. For example, when I spoke about that Pilates course that I signed up for, it was so expensive. I didn't really have the money at the time to do it. And I didn't think about it. Like there's no, oh, maybe, we should sit and actually think about spending this money, have a bit of, because they always say you should wait a week. Is it wait a week or something until you buy something? To see if you actually, yeah, because it's always a want and a need, isn't it? And I think a lot of the things are a want for me. Um, Amazon's really bad. I have to give myself Amazon bans every now and again because like I'll just go on Amazon and it's like the amount of deliveries that I've had over the years for Amazon and then I just get bored of it and then I don't use it and I'm like, why did I even buy that? Yeah, so I have to be very careful and I'm getting a lot better. But yeah, and it's just that little hit that I get. Like even I like go to Primark when I don't go as much anymore, and I just go in and I just buy like pajamas and all this, and then I'd get home, I'd put my new pajamas on, and I'd feel really happy, get that dopamine hit, and then probably never wear them again, and it's just a waste. That's probably mine. What's yours?
I think I am quite impulsive and not as much spending as much, but I think I'm very impulsive with hobbies and things like that. And it will be like I'll get so into something and be convinced I'm going to be the best at it and then
Yeah.
get bored of it. And I remember probably lockdown was the worst for it because I was doing nothing. And so I was like, this is my time to find a hobby. And I remember the first one was I was going to get into gardening, went to B&Q, bought loads of plants and pots and everything, and then put the plants out. And then a couple of days later, I forgot about them and they all died, and I got bored of it. Decided I was going to get into crocheting.
Yeah.
Bought everything I needed for crocheting. Started doing it. Got too frustrated by it, and then gave that up. Bought a skateboard. Decided I was going to be a skateboarder. Then got bored.
Yeah.
Was going to be an oil painter. Bought all the things for oil painting, canvas, all of this. I think I did one painting and then got bored of it. I bought a ukulele. I bought a ukulele
For God's sake.
I was going to play the ukulele and all of this sort of stuff. And I think throughout my whole life, I've done that constantly. When I was younger, my dad actually banned me from doing extracurricular activities because I do horse riding and I do it for 6 months
Oh,
and then hated
I know.
it. Gymnastics, ballet, acting.
And it's so expensive for parents, and they buy you all the kit, and then you're just like, nah, I'm bored of it now. I'm gonna go into the next thing.
Yeah.
It's even with the amount of businesses that I've started and then that I've stopped and I've got bored of, and like, we were joking about whether or not this is a hyperfixation, but it's funny because we are the same person in that sense. And I do think we start things and get very, very excited and then drop it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, please let's not drop this. Don't worry, guys, we're not going to drop this. But the messages do help with that, to be fair, don't they?
They do really help. So I guess last real thing is we've gone through all the toxic relationships,
Yeah.
dopamine seeking. I guess the most important thing to talk about now is how do you actually break the cycle? How do you break
Yeah.
the pattern? And it's not easy, and it's
Not easy at all.
Today's the best advice.
It's hard because I feel like I'm still very much in the pattern. I am dating someone new and it's going well, but I think I noticed that I still overthink a lot. And I'm very conscious of love bombing because I've had it happen to me like a few times in over the past year or few years, probably because I am vulnerable to that. But I think learning to um sorry, learning to tolerate calm, and not chase toxic behaviors. And for me, I think that when we mentioned Instagram, I do think that actually over the years that has been probably one of the things that has really affected my relationships. In something that I've struggled with massively is what's it called now? When you're retroactive jealousy.
Yeah.
And I think because like I would get absolutely obsessed with the person's ex, and they're their ex for a reason.
Yeah.
But I'd become obsessed with it. And I'd be constantly on their Instagram looking at pictures of their ex and being like, oh my God, she's so much better than me. She's prettier than me. She's smarter than me. And I'd then start looking for things, even though that person wasn't doing anything, to try and be like, yeah, what I believe about this is true.
You're trying to create reason.
Create drama and create chaos.
You're trying to like gather evidence
Yeah.
against a thing that's not real.
That's not real. And it's not fair on that person either. And I think something that I'm really trying to do is just be, which is difficult. I think over the past few weeks I've got a bit better, but just being okay with it being calm and just trying to trust the process more, and not look for things that are going wrong, because ultimately every single time you step into a new relationship, you are putting yourself at risk of getting hurt. We never know whether someone will break up with us, whether they will cheat on us. We never really truly know. We can only just try and trust them and trust the process. So yeah, I think that would be mine.
Peace can feel uncomfortable at first, especially, if you've got ADHD and you're constantly searching for chaos. Peace can feel boring, and it can be like, what am I doing? Like,
this isn't right.
This isn't right.
Yeah.
Like that. But, almost trying to accept that safe and stable is so much better than chaos. You can find other dopamine seeking behaviors, outside of your relationship, but a toxic relationship is not going to benefit you.
No.
I'd way rather spend loads of money on crocheting
yeah.
things like that with someone who
absolutely
treat me right.
What would yours be though?
I think just taking yourself out of it sometimes and being able to track those patterns. I think just having a better understanding of yourself and the patterns that you've done in the past, and understanding the signs, even like understanding some of the things that you do. I think even like medication for me really helped with a lot of the impulsivity and the trying to seek these toxic behaviors and things like that. It was just kind of like a full picture. And I think if you understand the patterns that you go through and the type of people that you usually go for, just try something new, just go for something completely different. And it's like, I know at first you might be like, oh, but I'm attracted to the bad boys, and like I want someone who's like this and gives this energy. And then, there might be a really nice person out there, but because you're so
used to that,
you're on a one road ticket and you're like, I need this type of person. There is a world out there of other people who will give you what you need, but you're too hyper-focused on trying to go for this one thing.
Yeah.
Open up your world a little bit more and give other people a chance that maybe you wouldn't have given them a chance before.
Yeah, and I also think that the biggest tip is to just work on your self-esteem. Build your cup so much that you've got so much going on in your life, that you're doing things that make you feel good. Find a hobby that you enjoy, become your own person, and be really confident in that person, so that when someone does step into your life, you're more likely to leave when things are going wrong. Because I think we often stay in these situations, especially people with ADHD, because of RSD, because of low self-esteem, and because we do just want to be loved, and then we'll just accept any kind of love. But when you have that self-love, self-worth, you have so much going on in your life, okay, if I leave this person or if that person leaves, everything will be okay, because I'm so full without them. They should complement your life.
If you can fulfill your own life and be happy with yourself and everything that you've got going on, a relationship shouldn't be your whole life. It should be the bonus, right? It should be the cherry on top. Like, it complements your life.
Yeah.
And it makes your life nicer, but you still have a fulfilled life without that person. And then I think you don't search for people who treat you badly, or you get into these toxic cycles because you're searching for someone who is going to fulfill your life and make it everything, and you put everything on that one person. It's like when you have a full life with friendships, hobbies, enjoy yourself, your own company, then when you're with someone else and they treat you right, you know, that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to put everything into that relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's come to the end of the podcast, so it's that time again, Megan.
It is that time again. I actually don't know what
I don't either.
of the week has been. I don't know what it's been.
Maybe we're getting better at not spending money or time on things and then forgetting about them. I don't know. See, mine was matcha last week, and I think I'm over that one now.
You're over that.
Over. Moving on. I actually don't know.
Maybe we might have to give ADHD. Maybe we're getting better. No, I think it is hard to have an ADHD tax
Every week. Maybe we, yeah.
Maybe next episode we'll have a big ADHD
Yeah,
tax.
because it's been a few weeks.
Maybe we're sensible. Maybe we're very good.
Maybe talking about ADHD tax is helping us not,
Actually understand
yeah,
it.
and not do it.
But it might be interesting. I mean, if you're listening right now and you have an ADHD
Yeah,
tax,
maybe send in your ADHD tax. And we'll share some of them on the next episode. And also, please remember to like, subscribe, you know, review. We would really appreciate it. And if you do have any episode topics that you would like us to discuss, to message, because we're happy to talk about anything.
Exactly. And keep commenting. We absolutely love reading the comments.
Yeah.
It fills our heart so much.
Yeah.
So keep on commenting, because it makes us feel like we're building this community, and you know, there's other people out there who are getting something out of what we're talking about. So yeah, it really does actually help us push this hyperfixation.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't stop.